Alright guys, today we are going to actually solve all of these problems we've been working on all week long. So remember, I am in charge of the two-step problems and you are in charge of the one-step problems. So let's go ahead and get started. So our first problem that we have says Logan has 127 pieces of paper in one journal and 283 pieces of paper in another journal. He used 183 pieces of paper from the journals. How much paper does Logan have left? Now remember, we've created our strip diagrams, our equations, and our estimations. And our final answer, we're going to try to get somewhere close to 200 pieces of paper. So let's go ahead and actually solve. So we know our equation is 127 plus 283 equals the total number of paper for our first step. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. And I'm going to go ahead and break this into expanded form. And when I do that, 127 is 100 plus 20 plus 7. 283 is 200 plus 80 plus 3. And I'm going to go ahead and use a number line to solve. So I'm going to first draw my number line. And I'm going to go 100 first. And I'm going to go from 0, I'm going to jump 100, and I'm at 100. Then I'm going to use my other 100. I'm going to go 200. So from 100, I'm going to jump 200, and now I'm at 300. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump and do my 10. So I'm going to do a jump of 20, which gets me to 320. Another jump of 80, which gets me to 400. Then a little bitty jump of 7, which gets me to 407. And finally, a little bitty jump of 3, which gets me to 410. So I know that the total amount of paper I have is 410 pieces of paper. And if I look at my first estimate compared to my first actual, 410 is pretty close to 400. So I feel like I'm on the right page. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to the second step. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. This equation says total paper minus 183 equals the amount of paper left over. Well, I now know what the total amount of paper is. It's 410, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So my new equation is 410 minus 183 equals question mark. And I'm going to go ahead and use my place value discs to help me. So I'm going to model my biggest number, which is 410. So I have 100, 200, 300, 400, and then 10 more. And then I'm going to take away 183. Well, there's a problem. I don't have any ones. So since I don't have any ones, what do I have to do? That's right, I'm going to borrow. So I'm going to go ahead and decompose this 10, and I'm going to make it, instead of 110, I'm going to make it into 10 ones. So I'm going to cross it out to show that I'm using it, and I'm going to go ahead and decompose it. And now I have 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm able to take away 3. So I'm going to take away 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go to my tens place, and I have to take away 8 tens. But uh-oh, I don't have any more tens. So again, I'm going to decompose one of my hundreds, because remember it takes 10 tens to make 100. I'm going to decompose this 100, and I'm going to make 10 of them. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm able to take away 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go ahead and move to my hundreds place. So I've already used this one because that's what I used to decompose. So now I'm going to take away 100. Boop. Now I'm going to see what's left over. So I have 100, 200. I have 1 tens, 2 tens, so 10, 20. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I write it in expanded form, I have 200 plus 20 plus 7. And if I actually compose all of those numbers together, it gives me 227. So if I look at this, I had said 227 and my estimate was 200. So 200 and 227 are really pretty close. So I know that my answer is, it's a reasonable answer. Let's look at our next problem. Our next problem says a farmer has 734 plants to feed his animals. He feeds the pigs 149 plants and the goats 321 plants. How many plants does the farmer have left? Now we created our strip diagrams, our equations, and our estimations. So we're going to go ahead and solve. So our first equation is 734 minus 149 is going to tell us how many plants we have. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. And again, I'm going to use my place value discs because I like to use that visual to help me. So I'm going to go ahead and model 734. And now I'm going to take away 149. So I'm going to start at my ones place and I'm going to take away 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. and I ran out of ones. So what do I have to do? That's right, I'm going to borrow one of these 10s. So I'm going to decompose this 10, and I'm going to make it into 10 ones. Now I can continue. So I took away 4. Now I'm at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I've taken away my 9 ones. Now I'm going to take away my 4 10s. 1, 2, but I have to take away 4. So again, I'm going to borrow. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take away 100, and then remember it takes 10 10s to make 100. So I'm going to decompose this 100 into 10s. And now I have my 10 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So far I've taken away, excuse me, my 2 10s. So now I'm going to continue. 3 and 4. Now, sorry about that, my computer froze. So now we're going to take away our other 10s. So we're going to take away 2 more, 1 and 2. Now we're going to move to our hundreds place, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of our other 100. Now we are going to look at how many of each we have left. So we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. We have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I want to go ahead and write that in expanded form, it would be 500 plus 80 plus 5. And if I compose 500 plus 80 plus 5, it was going to give me 585. So right now there are 585 plants remaining. So I'm going to go into my second step now. My second step says plants remaining minus 321 equals the plants left. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. I know how many plants are remaining now, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So 585 minus 321 equals the plants that are left. And again, I'm going to use my place value discs to help me. So I'm going to model through 585. And I'm going to take away 321. So I'm going to start at my ones place, take away the 1. Now I'm going to take away 2 10s. And finally, I'm going to take away 3 hundreds. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to look and see how much is left. So I have 100, 200. I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I write that in expanded form, I'm going to have 200 plus 60 plus 4. And if I compose it, I'm going to have 264 plants left. Now remember, the final thing I have to do is compare it to my estimate to see if my answer is reasonable. So I have 264. I said my answer was going to be about 300, and those two numbers are pretty close, so I know my answer is reasonable. Let's look at our next question. Our next question says Jackie has $14. Her mom gives her $16. She then shares the money equally with her brother. How much money did each person get? Again, we have our strip diagrams, our equations, and our estimates. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring down our equation. So 14 plus 16 equals our total amount of money. I'm going to go ahead and use a number line and expanded form to help me. So I'm going to break these two numbers into expanded form. So I have 10 plus 4 and 10 plus 6. Then I'm going to use my number line. I'm going to go ahead and start at 0 and have a hop of 10, which gets me to 10. And then I'm going to have another hop of 10. And if I started at 10 and I hop 10 more, now I'm at 20. Now I'm going to have a small hop of 6, which gets me to 26. And finally, a smaller hop of 4, which gets me to 30. So I know that they had $30 for our total amount of money. I'm then going to go ahead and move to my second step. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this equation down. Total money divided by 2 equals the amount each person gets. So I'm going to now fill in my total. So I know my total is $30. So 30 divided by 2 is now going to tell me how much money each person gets. So I am going to go ahead and draw Jackie and her brother. And I have 30, so I'm just going to count $1 at a time. I'm going to pass 1 to Jackie and then 1 to her brother until I get to 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Now I'm going to count to see how much each person actually got. So Jackie has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And her brother has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So they each got $15. So let's compare that to our estimate. So I said they were each going to get 15 and our estimate was 6. So that's pretty close. So I know that my answer is reasonable. Our final question says a garden has 5 rows of plants. Each row has 6 plants. A family of birds ate 14 plants. How many plants are left? Again, we have our strip diagrams and our equations. We have our estimations, and our final answer is going to be somewhere around 20. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and bring our equation down. So we said 5 times 6 equals how many number of plants? So I'm going to go ahead and make an array because I like to have my pictures. And with my array, I have 5 groups of 6. And if I want, I can count by 5s, I can count by 6s, or I can count every single one of them. Either way works. I'm going to go ahead and count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. So there are 30 plants total. I'm going to use that to help me with my second step. So I'm going to bring my equation down. I have a total of plants minus 14 equals how many plants are left. Well, I know my total plants now is 30. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So 30 minus 14 equals how many plants are left. And I liked my array so much, I'm going to go ahead and use it again. So now I have my array of 30, and I'm going to take away 14. Now remember, when people show things that are being taken away, they put an X through it or cross it off. So I'm going to cross off 14 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And now I can count to see how many are left. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are 16 plants left. The final thing I do, excuse me, is I'm going to check to make sure it's reasonable. So I said my answer was going to be around 20, and it was 16, and you know what? That's pretty close. So I know I did it correct.